CR Christiansburg. It's time for the Hokie House Pregame Show. Join the guys right now at Hokie House for complete analysis of today's Virginia Tech football game. Now let's head upstairs at Hokie House for the show.
I think, in all honesty, this is the indictment right here of the Virginia Tech football season. It's the Hokie House Pregame Show on your local radio station. We are ESPN Blacksburg. I'm Paul Van Wagner. Andrew Alex is here with me today.
What's going on?
Our normal cast of hundreds?
Everyone's sick or
I don't feel
got something
good.
to do.
Yeah.
Well, here we are. Just the two of us. We can make it if we try.
That is true. Dave Perks will be joining us remotely. Joey Weaver is going to be joining us today. If you follow Mike McDaniel, you know
Which
that
you
he
should
does,
if you like scraps.
That is true. If you like to argue with someone on Twitter, there are two people you should follow: Mike McDaniel and Jeremy. Those are the two people you should be following. But Mike and Joey do the basketball conference podcast where they break down all things football in the ACC. And Joey is a Georgia Tech alum. So we're going to get some Georgia Tech insight from Joey today. So that'll be a lot of fun. We'll have him on with us in the second segment. Like I said, Dave Perk's going to try to join us remotely also. So we should have a good time. We're also streaming live on the Voice of College Football, Mark Rogers page. Thanks to everyone who jumped in with us today. If you got any questions related to Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech, we'd love to answer those for you today also. So come on in, sit down, grab yourself a beverage. We're hanging out at Hokie House today. The Tri-Deltas are here with us today, so we're glad to have them hanging out. They got up bright and early to be part of the show with us today. So, Andrew, you start out the season 3-1. Notre Dame, Pitt, Syracuse. 2 last-second losses. 1 game against a team that arguably might be the best team in the ACC right now in Pitt. No real harm in losing that game other than it kind of knocks you out of coastal contention because Pitt beat Clemson. So I'm having a hard time seeing anywhere on the schedule where Pitt might lose another game. So when you look at where the Hokies are at right now, 4-3 on the season, an obvious must-win against Georgia Tech. Where are you at with this team?
I think our good friend Jonathan McLaughlin put it exactly right when he said that he was having a conversation with Luther Maddie, and Luther said, "This is weird, but I'm starting to get used to losing." And
it's not a good feeling.
It's not a good feeling because, quite frankly, and I talk to Virginia Tech fans all day, every day.
Yep.
Pretty much.
What we do.
Up by 9 points with under 5 minutes to go against Syracuse. Everyone had this pit feeling of inevitability.
Yeah.
That what can go wrong will go wrong. And Justin Fuente and his staff once again proved that it will indeed go wrong. So what's my feeling right now? Perhaps apathy. I mean, I've been talking to people who aren't even Michigan fans like you, and Virginia Tech fans are more excited for the Michigan State game than they are to watch their own team. Because at the end of the day, the writing is on the wall for this coaching staff. Some reports out, and it's just rumors on the 24/7 boards that Justin Fuente is well aware and has been informed that he will not be retained at the end of the year, and that he is just basically fulfilling his contract at this point, unless he, opts to resign and choose not to do so. So we are in this weird purgatory right now as a football program where we know change is coming. We don't know what that change might be,
right?
But we're riding with the current failed staff for the remainder of the year. And from a player motivation standpoint, that can't be a good thing.
Yeah.
When you have a locker room full of young men who all committed to play for this guy, knowing that he's not going to be here 365 days from now. He's not going to be here 90 days from now.
Right.
So it's weird, but you just got to, as a fan, sit down and root for the logo on the helmet.
Right.
And for the kids who are, regardless of how you feel about the coaching staff, you can say a lot of things about this team, but you can't say that they haven't played hard, Paul.
Yeah.
And and
nobody
root
is
for the whole thing not to bottom out, I guess, right?
Yeah, and nobody is arguing that Ohio State would beat Virginia Tech by 80. I don't even know why you posted that.
It's a good point, dude.
Congratulations, Ed. Dave Perks.
Coastal Carolina would beat Virginia Tech by 80.
Yeah, it might be. Dave, last week you were adamant that in the throwback 99 unis, if they don't win this game, that was it. And I can't use the words you said off the air, but that was it.
Yep.
Is that it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think I posted with 2 minutes left in the game. We're going to give them the ball back, aren't we? And lose this thing. And it happened. Just like Andrew said, like there was never a sense of confidence that they were going to walk out with a win. There were some good moments. There were some great plays, but there's always hope, but there's never confidence now that they're going to be able to make it work and hold on to a lead or, come out with a win.
And I actually, Dave brings up a great point, Andrew. Outside of the last 5 minutes of the North Carolina game. Now, obviously, I'm taking Middle Tennessee out of that equation, but even Richmond, there hasn't been a point this year where I've been like, yeah, we're good. We're good. We got this, right?
Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? So we've joked on this show not all season, but the last few weeks, that we were told before the season that this is the best passing attack we've ever had at Virginia Tech, or at least in the last 6 years or whatever. But then, after games like Richmond, we're told, well, we just don't have the makeup to put teams away early and often. Well, which is it? I mean, which excuse do you like? Do we want to go with hyperbole? Well, that only lasts as long as until you get on the field, and obviously that's not the case. So I guess he's right. We just don't have the team to put away teams like Richmond. And that's terrible. I mean, I could come up with all kinds of different ways to talk about it, but it's just awful. There's no excuse for a program like this to not be able to put away a University of Richmond. Much less a Syracuse, to be honest. I mean, we've done a great job in the last few years of making mediocre to bad teams look good. And that's what happened on Saturday.
It's always been over the course of the last 3 years, David, and you're exactly right. Virginia Tech playing down to their competition consistently.
Yes.
But very rarely playing up to their competition. It has happened, but you don't see the blowouts in the Virginia Tech direction. You just see Virginia Tech having those games where they just lay down, roll over, and a team like Pittsburgh, wins by 3 touchdowns, holding Virginia Tech to 200 total yards. It's there's not much to hold on to in that other direction right now.
No, there's not. And, like you said, Andrew, at the start of the show, like there's no sense of, I don't know, fun.
Yeah.
I know we got 6 games left, but who's looking forward to them? I mean, I'm going to watch maybe to a certain point, but it's just, I don't know. It's just frustrating because like you said, change is coming, and oh my goodness, if it doesn't, just imagine you're going to lose Hokie Nation completely if it doesn't. So, change is coming.
Right.
And, now I guess the most intriguing thing about Virginia Tech football for the next 60 to 90 days is who's filling that spot.
Yeah,
we can speculate all we want. That becomes the game within the game. And, that's kind of it.
Wayne brings up a good point, and I guess I'm curious what you guys think. I'm gonna put this up on the StreamYard page. Virginia Tech is very close to being a 6-1 team. Are we at the point right now where we're just going to go ahead and celebrate moral victories?
No.
I see Dave shaking his head.
We're not. So here's the thing:
Absolutely.
we're not close to being a 6-1 team.
Well,
We're-
I mean,
we're-
score-wise, you
Sure,
lose by
score-wise,
one
but
touchdown.
look at how those scores unfolded. Look
Sure,
at
no,
how the
I
play on the
understand
field
that.
unfolded that.
No, I get that. But what I'm saying is you're 2 yards away from beating West Virginia
Sure.
with bad play calling. You are 3 yards. Sorry. You are a couple of plays away from beating Notre Dame. Just kick the damn extra point and you win that game 29 to 33 to 32 or whatever it was. You lose to Syracuse on a 19-second remaining touchdown catch.
Okay.
So, I mean,
Look, close only counts in horseshoes.
I
and hand
understand
grenades.
that. I understand that.
And the reality is that
Stop attacking me.
that argument, first of all, let's go back to 2016, where
Okay.
we beat Duke by 3 and Pitt by 3, both on last-second field goals.
Sure.
Do you remember anyone in 2016 saying we are close to being a 7-5 team rather than a 9-3 team? No, because we won. Ultimately,
yes.
the goal of football is to win the game. At the end of the season, you can throughout the season, you can pile a record in which you are judged on at the end of the season.
That's fair.
No one
That's
cares
fair.
how close you were. And making that argument, I see people online trying to make an argument almost in defense of Justin Fuente. Oh, but the games have been so close. Well, here's the reality. As ESPN does a national story about the coaching carousel, it shows Virginia Tech highlights.
Yeah.
Like the argument that we keep blowing all these games at the end, but we're close, is more of an indictment on the coaching staff than you might think. So if you're making that argument, and Wayne, I know you're not making this argument.
Right.
I'm not mad at Wayne. I'm mad at some of the people I've seen online trying to use this as a defense mechanism to defend Justin Fuente, Brad Cornelson, and the coaching staff, who, by the way, I don't think are bad people. I'm not one of those people who goes out and tries to take personal shots at them, but they are paid millions of dollars, or Justin Fuente has paid millions of dollars to win football games for Virginia Tech. And over the course of the last few years, when it has mattered most in the fourth quarter, down the stretch, he and his team and his staff have failed, and that's why change is coming.
That's fair. That's
That's
fair.
right. And
Go ahead.
Can I just add really quickly too?
Yeah.
I think, Paul, as you were running down all of the catastrophic ways we've found to lose football games this year, that's the trend, right?
Yeah.
We're all in the business of data these days, and data don't lie. And so when you look at all of the ways that we've finished football games by finding ways to lose, or by just not showing up from the kickoff, that's a trend. And sure, if one or two plays had gone differently, but if we're at the point where we're counting on all the right bounces to win games instead of a solid plan to win a game,
right.
and the preparation to win a game, and the I guess to dip into Fuente land here, the execution to win a game on the field, then we're in a bad spot.
Wayne says, I'm not saying good. I'm saying good coaching would overcome that. That's fair.
And that is fair.
Yeah,
that is fair.
That's the reality, right? It's not a talent issue now.
No,
the
it's
team
not
is
a kids issue.
The team
The
is
kids
not
are good
being,
kids. They're good players.
It's not like, if Virginia Tech were to play Ohio State this year, like random commenter mentioned,
Ed, here you go, Ed. We're giving you some love,
and
brother.
we lost by 80.
Yeah.
Then we'd say that's a talent issue,
Right.
Ohio State's filled with 5 stars.
Yeah.
Virginia Tech's not. Whatever you
Right.
expect to lose that game, it happens.
Certainly.
But that's not the issue.
Ed's
here.
just mad about 2014, by the way. He's just angry. That's okay.
Teams like Syracuse, teams like Pittsburgh actually regularly finish below Virginia Tech in these recruiting rankings.
Yep.
So what is going wrong? You have a number of players that have leveled out, and they're athletic. They have all the talent in the world. So who is there to blame?
Well, and not to beat this dead horse any more than we already are, but I
love beating a dead horse.
Take Pitt, for example, right? And I've made this argument on the drive all week long. I'll make it here on the pregame show. 3-4 years ago, Dave, we were laughing at Kenny Pickett, right? Who the hell is this kid? This is the best you can get in our doozy as a quarterback? Like, this kid is a joke. Fast forward 4 years, Kenny Pickett is a Heisman candidate. Mm-hmm. Kenny Pickett is leading Pitt up and down the field in the
number one NFL draft prospect, according to Mel Kiper Jr. at the quarterback position.
Yes, all of these things, right? So what is that? What is that? That's
what we were told Fuente was going to be.
Right, exactly. And that's Pat Narduzzi and his staff taking a dude that when you look at him as a freshman, you're like, ooh, man, this kid probably needs to transfer to like JMU or something like that, right? Maybe transfer to ODU. But like, he has developed. He has gone up. Every year we've seen Kenny Pickett take steps up the stairs. And what have we seen at Virginia Tech? We've seen guys like Hendon Hooker who are now dominating at Tennessee. We've seen guys like Quincy Patterson who are now dominating at North Dakota. Like, these guys leave. Josh Jackson, prior to being injured. Now, you can say whatever you want about Josh Jackson, but Josh Jackson didn't make mistakes, and he moved the team up and down the field, and Josh Jackson won football games. So, but you run these kids off.
I'll always contest to Josh Jackson just because he didn't end up being any good at Maryland. But
that's Maryland. Maryland is a trash bag. Maryland is a bad.
Maryland played Virginia Tech today. Who would win?
Virginia Tech would win that game.
Virginia,
so? Oh yeah, far and away, Virginia Tech would win that game. If Maryland played against ODU, ODU would win that game. Maryland is a bad program. It's a bad program.
You got a Maryland season ticket holder in the house.
I mean, I'm sorry. I apologize, but that is the fact. Maryland is not a good program.
Yeah.
He did tell me once that they got a box at the Maryland games and they can't convince people to go.
There you go. There you go. I mean, so like you can't pin the Maryland thing on Josh Jackson. Josh walked into a situation where they were like, we're going to make you the starter. We're going to make all of your dreams come true. We're going to do all the things that Justin Fuente wouldn't. Oh, and we're going to surround you with all this talent. His talent got injured. His best running back got hurt in preseason. His best wide receiver got hurt at the beginning of the year. So, yeah, I mean, you got to look at what Josh Jackson did at Virginia Tech. And, I mean, they keep running. My point is they keep running these kids off, and these kids end up being decent to really good quarterbacks. Mark just posted on the stream. Hendon Hooker has 17 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Dude is tearing it up. What would you give right now, Dave Perks, for a quarterback that threw 17 touchdowns and 2 interceptions?
I'd give a lot for a quarterback that could throw 1 touchdown at any given
point.
Right.
I mean, that's the thing. And Paul, it's a really good point because I think for me, the frustration with that quarterback situation, and this even really started in year 2, I think, when, well, maybe not because Gerard had already said that he was going to be leaving, but it started early on where Fuente just seems to have this thing that he thinks that an established quarterback is going to get better by being told that he doesn't have the job for next year yet.
Yeah. It's a head game.
I mean, why wouldn't you have, if you've got a quarterback who's getting you results, why don't you commit to that kid so that he then becomes even more of a leader during the offseason, is the voice in the weight room, is the guy who's grabbing people by the collar, dragging them out to run routes and throw balls. But in the meantime, what you got is these kids who are like, I don't know what's going to happen next year. Yes. So now I'm training nervous and I don't know what to expect when I come in. Apparently what I'm doing isn't good enough for this coach to say that I'm the starter next year. Yep. So what is, I don't know. Maybe I'll just go someplace where a coach can define what that is and label a starter and stick with it. Even if that isn't me, at least I know where I stand.
Mark, Maryland is bad. Don't give me that. So, all right, we got to take a break. Mark's got me rattled. Maryland did beat West Virginia, and West Virginia did beat Virginia Tech. So by the transitive properties, Virginia Tech would still beat Maryland.
Just like the transitive property, Wake Forest, the 0-0 team in 2014 was the national championships because they beat Virginia Tech beat a team that beat Ohio State.
That is very fair. Quick break. When we come back, I believe Joey Weaver is going to join us. So we're going to get some Georgia Tech insight on the show today. We're definitely looking forward to that. You are listening to the Hokie House pregame show. We're live at Hokie House. We're also live on the Voice of College Football on YouTube. So come on by, join us. The Hokie House is open. If you're looking for some eggs and beer this morning, you can definitely get that here at Hokie House. So come on by. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech. We'll preview the game. It's the Hokie House pregame show on your local radio station. We are ESPN Blacksburg.
To reality, we're talking sports. ESPN Blacksburg, 93.1, 810, 97.1, and online at espnblacksburg.com.
What's the best part about hosting a football party at your house? Is it the endless hours of prep to make sure that you have enough food? Is it the constant hours of cleaning because you want to make a good impression? Is it the need to buy so many different drinks because you don't want your guests to be unhappy? Or is it all the cleanup afterwards once everyone leaves? Let's be honest, it's none of those things. All of those things suck. They're tedious and they're not fun at all. What is fun? Showing up, letting someone else do all the work so you can just enjoy the game. If that sounds like how you want to enjoy this week's away Hokie game, might I suggest you head on over to Hokie House in downtown Blacksburg. With a full menu featuring the best Hokie burgers and wings in the New River Valley, Hokie House is the one place you can enjoy the game, the food, and the drinks with all your friends and not have to worry about any of the other horrible stuff that goes into planning your party. So this weekend, we'll see you and all your friends at Hokie House, 322 North Main Street in downtown Blacksburg. Hokie House, where deliciousness jumps into your mouth.
We are making it happen at the used car superstore on the Sheeler Motor Mile with more selection, more value, and more options. Over 1,500 used cars in stock and ready for delivery. All makes and models to choose from and all in one location. Plus, Sheeler is your credit source. We own the finance company and make it easy to buy with in-house financing. Our credit specialists are standing by to give you a second chance. We are making it happen with over 1,500 used cars in one location at the used car superstore on the Sheeler Motor Mile. Why start anywhere else?
In today's environment, it's more important than ever to establish a relationship with the right bank. Hi, I'm Jack Wilkinson with the First Bank and Trust Company. Business lending is a big part of what we do, but building lifelong relationships is who we are. We've been supporting the financial needs of businesses for over 40 years by providing customized solutions and delivering unparalleled customer service. When you are ready to experience the best in community banking, give me a call at 540-951-1656 or visit us online, www.firstbank.com.
Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Research shows that people remember radio ads with a booming voice that emphasizes all the main points. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
That part is super important.
Here's one with a booming voice.
I'm emphasizing everything.
Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance.
Like a page with every word highlighted.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
There's confusion about how to protect yourself from COVID. One thing is certain, whether you're vaccinated or not, you need an accurate thermometer to check for fever, the leading sign of flu and COVID. Be vigilant and contact your medical provider at the first sign of fever. Don't rely on non-contact thermometers that have no scientific studies. Only the Exergen temporal scanner thermometer has been proven accurate in more than 100 clinical studies. Learn more at exergen.com.
It's the Hokie House pregame show on your local radio station. We are ESPN Blacksburg. Paul Van Wagner, Andrew Alex, Dave Perks joining us live remotely from his house of pestilence. I think, is that? How you feeling today, buddy? You feeling better?
Yeah, you know, we're just we're just in the thick of it now, right?
Health-wise, are you feeling better? Not Hokie-wise,
yeah.
Are you?
Yeah.
Because Hokie-wise, I know you're not.
Yeah, I don't know if one's contributing to the other.
That's possible. That is altogether possible.
That is true.
Joey just messaged me. Unfortunately, he will not be able to join us today. So let's dive.
Wow, Paul, game of the week, Wisconsin, Iowa.
Oh,
is he stuck in line at the varsity down there?
He might be. Do
you know what I would give to have the varsity right now?
Dude.
Dave Perks, are you an Atlanta Braves fan?
Oh yeah, lifelong. I grew up in Richmond, so I used to watch all those guys that were part of that '90s streak. I watched them in Richmond before they got there.
Well, I'm no
Watch
Braves
Greg
fan,
Maddox throw a.
I'm a fan of the varsity.
Oh man, so good.
All
right.
right.
Have you ever been to Atlanta?
I have not. Well, that's not true. I have been to Atlanta Airport.
Okay, that doesn't count.
That doesn't count. It was.
That is a nice airport.
It was.
Although at any given time, the Atlanta airport does hold a measurable population of the city of Atlanta. That's for sure.
That is fair.
A large place.
That is fair. Okay, we can't get the game notes for Georgia Tech. That's fantastic.
Yeah, well, we'll have to fly by the seat of our pants like we usually do.
I guess so. Yeah, it is. It is what it is. All right, so Georgia Tech currently 2-3 right now in the ACC. They are ahead of Virginia Tech in the standings, guys. I mean, This is not your father's Georgia Tech team. They are still currently in the midst of a rebuild. Jeff Collins seems to have this team going in the right direction, but this is still a program that has a ways to go, but at the same time is definitely making strides. Now, Dave, I know you were not a fan of the Paul Brown, was that his name, era of
Paul
Georgia
Johnson?
Tech. Paul Johnson era of Georgia
Scallon
Tech.
Paul Johnson.
Yeah. The cutting the knees of defensive linemen and all of that stuff.
No.
This is a tough game, right? Because this has been so of all of the things in the Fuente era that as a fan bug me, his record against Georgia Tech might be the one that year in and year out really is a burr under my saddle.
Yeah, I completely agree with that because, it wasn't that long ago that I remember. I mean, we had the perfect scheme for one of the Georgia Tech games where when Kyle Fuller was still here,
right?
And they brought him up, and he was basically playing an extra linebacker spot.
Yep.
And I don't know if Georgia Tech had even 100 yards of offense that game. I mean, he was diving in, and I mean, it was insane. It was the perfect game plan for him. And then, Fuente had 3-4 years with Bud Foster as his defensive coordinator.
Yep.
Couldn't get it done.
Yep.
And so the frustration for me was, how did we have this plan in place that was so good one year? And I mean, certainly they're going to scheme and make adjustments and all of that stuff. I mean, you're not seeing the exact same thing every year, but with that triple option, it was pretty close. But yet there wasn't a plan in place to really effectively put a cap on it. And, all game, we're just chasing guys from behind.
Yeah.
And watching it, get out of control. It was maddening. It was very frustrating.
It's that it used to be, and it's not that way anymore, but it was that whole, you got to get them behind the sticks on first down. Otherwise, they're just going to keep matriculating the ball down the field.
And they're going to throw it 3 times in the game, and every single time they're going to score.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so here's an interesting statistic, Andrew, and this, again, is more of an indictment on the Fuente era. Virginia Tech is seeking their first back-to-back wins against Georgia Tech since 2012, 2013.
Yeah, I mean,
all right.
It's not ideal. And back then, by the way, 2012, 2013, Georgia Tech was a much better football program in general than they are right now. That being said, Virginia Tech was at a very different level as well.
Right.
But, I mean, look, there's a lot that's going into this game. Georgia Tech is a program that is in the midst of a transformation, right? I mean, to get out of that Paul Johnson era, it was not going to be something that happened overnight. You basically got to teach your offensive linemen to pass block. You got to get a quarterback who knows how to throw the ball, and wide receivers that are committed to doing things other than just blocking. Right. So, but here we are in year 3 of Jeff Collins. And I think that if Joey Weaver was here, he would say it's the little things that have Georgia Tech fans on edge. Look, you
sound familiar?
Yeah. I mean, no kidding. It's like, I personally can relate to and understand the frustration of football fans who are just looking for steps in the right direction. And you start to see them, and then you lose to Northern Illinois at home in the first week. So what this team lacks is consistency. And if Jeff Collins is back next year, I assume he will be. I don't think he's a real hot seat guy at this point, but it might be without his defensive coordinator because this Georgia Tech defense is bad. 50 points against Pittsburgh, 48 against UVA. In a win against Duke, they allowed 500 yards of offense. So it's a matchup of
we get to get into a shootout.
It's a matchup of weakness and weakness, right? Like, I mean, because Georgia Tech can score, but they're going to allow a lot of points. Virginia Tech can play defense, but they can't score.
Right.
So something's got to give. So my question is, do you trust Braxton Burmeister to throw the ball downfield? My answer for that is no. But I do like what we saw with this running back rotation against Syracuse, a Syracuse defense that is actually at the top of FBS in a lot of statistical measures.
Right.
And Malachi Thomas really got going, 150 yards of rushing for the freshman, a true freshman who will be back home in the state of Georgia. If the Fuente crew is not trying to sabotage themselves any further than they possibly could, and they're playing for their next job, right?
That's true.
They're
that
playing,
is true.
and they're coaching for their next job. You got to stick with the Thomas, Blackshear rotation, and it's got to be that 2 carries for Thomas for every 1 for Blackshear.
Right.
You don't want to tire the kid out. He's young,
Yep.
but at the end of the day, Paul, that is where this football game is going to be won and lost.
But Dave, this goes back to the conversation that we have been having as a group for the better part of the last 6 years with this team, right? And with this coaching regime. You got a kid like Malachi Thomas. Malachi Thomas did not just break onto the scene last week. This isn't just, he wasn't just all of a sudden, he didn't walk out of the tunnel during Enter Sandman and go, crap, I'm going to go ahead and blow up. This kid has been good since day one. Why are we just now seeing him on the field?
That's a good question that I think you would get a non-answer from Justin Fuente on. And, but here's the thing. The other thing that I'd say, the other side of that is, Andrew just mentioned, well, you don't want to tire him out or anything. I don't think that's once Fuente finds the workhorse.
Yeah.
He don't care if he wears them out. I mean, Gerard Evans took a beating all year long that first year. Didn't matter. He was the guy who was going to get it done. So now we found a guy who's going to get it done. And I think, until or if Malachi gets the ball punched out of his hands and puts it on the ground, at which point we'll go back into some weird, rotational who can get it done next and not fumble, but also probably not run very well. Kind of mix, I think he's the guy, and it's exciting. I mean, he was a bright spot in that game. It was fun to watch him run. Yeah. And, I'd love to see him unleashed more.
Paul, in regards to the Malachi Thomas thing, and like you said, it's not like this kid magically learned how to run the ball last week, right? Does it speak to what we've been hearing time and time again? And I think that over the course of the last few weeks on the drive, on this pregame show, we've said this more than anything else. This coaching staff would rather be right than win football games. They went with their guys early on, and they wanted to stick it out, regardless of the fact that maybe in practice there was another kid, younger, showing what he can do. And, and the question is, right, and this goes to Hendon Hooker too, and I understand the frustration of fans who are watching Hendon Hooker play at Tennessee and saying, well, we were so close in all these games, because the reality was we were. What would competent quarterback play have done to swing those games?
Yeah.
And what would, and by the way, it wasn't just Burmeister. It was the running game as well. Nothing going all season long. What if we had a Malachi Thomas against West Virginia?
Yeah.
Against Notre Dame. I don't think it's enough to swing the game against Pittsburgh, but those are 2 losses that could easily be flipped to wins.
Yep.
If the right personnel is on the field, but they weren't.
And I think too that, I mean, part of it is just like historical tendencies in coaching, right? I mean, we all knew what Khalil Herbert was capable of on the field when he went in late in the draft. And you heard the coaches there in Chicago saying, oh, yeah, we've got something special in him. But if the 2 guys ahead of him weren't injured and on the COVID list, he'd still be bottled up and wouldn't have been the first guy to run for 100 yards against Tampa Bay last week. So there is a certain amount of that, like, well, these guys have been around, they know the system, they've got seniority, so we need to ride with these guys. So I get that, but to Andrew's point too, like, if he's running circles around other kids in practice, then I don't understand why you're not at least giving him a shot earlier than halfway through the season when you've already lost the fan base.
Right. Yeah. And that is the question that I keep asking is these kids keep emerging. You can't tell me that this is a lightning in a bottle situation. Like, these kids didn't just show up, like I say, didn't run out of the tunnel for Enter Sandman and be like, what the hell? I think I'll have a game today.
Yeah, let's go off.
Yeah. So I don't understand it. It makes me scratch my head.
It is making the same mistake over and over and over again sounds like the definition of insanity. And I understand why Virginia Tech fans right now in the state of apathy that they are, because you don't want to feel insane rooting for the same thing and seeing the same mistakes being made over and over and over again by this coaching staff. It's disheartening and depressing.
It's fair.
Yeah,
Let's. Go ahead, Dave. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, we started this segment, by talking about Georgia Tech being a few years into their rebuild and, consistency being the issue. Well, you still have players that came in under Paul Johnson in that program that are, probably still trying to get it straight. And I guess what I'm trying to say is I would love to be 3 years into a rebuild right now. Now, I will say that when we do get because we're rebuilding from the ground up for different reasons than Georgia Tech was, or we will be. Right. But I will say that 3 years in, if this fan base is still seeing some of the inconsistencies that the Georgia Tech fan base is seeing, I don't think it's going to be all unicorns and rainbows about it either. So
that's fair. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll take a trip around the rest of the ACC. Lots of games going on in the ACC. Some of them are going to be exciting. Some of them are going to be maybe snoozers, but we'll take a trip around the ACC right after this. You are listening to the Hokie House pregame show, and we're on the Voice of College Football on YouTube. On your local radio station, we are ESPN Blacksburg.
And Alexander.
Wrong that we want you all to ourselves. Share the sports love right here.
ESPN Blacksburg, 93.1, 810, 97.1, and online at espnblacksburg.com.
What's up, Bruins fans? For sport or life, keeping yourself in shape can be one of the best things you can do. Hi, this is Kevin Bowen, owner of Blacksburg Boxing and Fitness. Whether you're trying to get in shape for the upcoming season, ramp up your game for your current sport, or just get in a little better shape for life, Blacksburg Boxing and Fitness can help you be your best in 2021. For a full schedule of our classes and our open gym hours, or to sign up for a free week trial, visit our website, blacksburgboxingandfitness.com. Blacksburg Boxing and Fitness, because everybody is worth fighting for.
What's the best part about hosting a football party at your house? Is it the endless hours of prep to make sure that you have enough food? Is it the constant hours of cleaning because you want to make a good impression? Is it the need to buy so many different drinks because you don't want your guests to be unhappy? Or is it all the cleanup afterwards once everyone leaves? Let's be honest, it's none of those things. All of those things suck. They're tedious, and they're not fun at all. What is fun? Showing up, letting someone else do all the work so you can just enjoy the game. If that sounds like how you want to enjoy this week's away Hokie game, might I suggest you head on over to Hokie House in downtown Blacksburg. With a full menu featuring the best Hokie burgers and wings in the New River Valley, Hokie House is the one place you can enjoy the game, the food, and the drinks with all your friends and not have to worry about any of the other horrible stuff that goes into planning your party. So this weekend, we'll see you and all your friends at Hokie House, 322 North Main Street in downtown Blacksburg. Hokie House, where deliciousness jumps into your mouth.
We are making it happen at the used car superstore on the Sheeler Motor Mile with more selection, more value, and more options. Over 1,500 used cars in stock and ready for delivery. All makes and models to choose from, and all in one location. Plus, Sheeler is your credit source. We own the finance company and make it easy to buy with in-house financing. Our credit specialists are standing by to give you a second chance. We are making it happen with over 1,500 used cars in one location at the used car superstore on the Sheeler Motor Mile. Why start anywhere else?
Exam 4 needs to be sanitized.
Mersana's MRI clinic isn't operating at max efficiency. She needs a new certified tech certifiably now.
Someone's waiting in room 2 for an ACL scan. Can you handle that?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. With Indeed Instant Match, we immediately show you quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed meet your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Maureen saved big shopping epic daily deals at Amazon. So now she's free to become Maureen the Merrier. And with her brand new tableware, everyone's welcome at Maureen's table. All of her family, friends, even her neighbor with the pet. Hey, has anyone seen a ferret around here? Found it. Dig into Amazon's epic daily deals. Spend less, smile more.
Everybody's broke, Bobby's got a buck. Put $1 worth of gas in his pickup.
It's the Hokie House pregame show on your local radio station. We are ESPN Blacksburg, and a good Saturday morning to all of you. Paul Van Wagner, Andrew Alex, Dave Perks, and all of you. We are also streaming live on the Voice of College Football on YouTube. Thanks to everyone who's joining us today, guys. Just some quick games here in the ACC. Andrew, Miami travels to number 17 Pitt. Last week was a litmus test for Pitt taking on Clemson. They passed that. They win. Letdown week this week for Pitt?
It scares me, but I think the Pittsburgh are going to be able to get it done. I mean, Tyler Van Dyke has just not brought consistency to the quarterback position at Miami since the absence of De'Aaron King.
Fair.
And, I mean, I don't think that it's fair to expect him to bring consistency at that position. He's a true freshman right now. He's one of those kids that is talented enough to pull an upset. We almost saw it happen against North Carolina. We did see it happen against North Carolina State last week.
Yeah.
That being said, with the way Kenny Pickett and Pitt are playing right now, you know, consistency on both sides of the ball with a quarterback that's in the Heisman race, it's going to be too much for a Miami program that probably has more questions than Virginia Tech right now, and that's saying something.
Yeah, that's true. Dave, 6 years ago, Florida State at Clemson probably would have been the 7:30 game on ABC. Kirk Herbstreit would have been there. They probably would have done College Game Day from this game. Fast forward to 2021, and this is just another game on the schedule.
You know, it's funny. I was actually looking at that schedule earlier this week and thinking the exact same thing. Like, man, this would have been a marquee game, but nope. I mean, it's really confusing what's happening at Clemson this year. And, it's not that confusing. And, you downgrade it at quarterback and, you don't have quite the weapons that you had last year. But for a program that has done the we don't rebuild, we reload thing for the last few years, it was really surprising to see. Now, I guess the season is what the season is for them, but I would imagine that nobody is more surprised than Dabo because he loves that narrative more than anybody else does.
Well, and the crazy thing about this is that this is a program that when you look at it on paper, and I realize we don't play the game on paper, but on paper, where's the drop-off? Yes, I realize Trevor Lawrence to DJU, there's going to be a little bit of a drop-off, but we've seen DJ play football, man. The kid can ball.
Oh, yeah.
So
Trevor
where's the drop-off?
Trevor Lawrence wasn't the only player that left, though. I mean, look,
I know.
That Clemson team had a lot of players, Travis Etienne, a lot of the guys on that offensive line, a lot of the guys on that defensive line, and those guys are still there. Clemson's defense, obviously not the problem.
Right.
But offensively replacing everyone. You have multiple wide receivers. T. Higgins, Amari Rodgers now in the NFL. Of course, you have the prodigy Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, the ACC's all-time leading rusher, I'm pretty sure now.
I think so, yeah. I think that's a stat that he owns,
And to expect this ship to just keep seamlessly moving forward in the absence of those guys is unfair to Dabo Swinney and Clemson. But, I mean, this group, unfortunately, in the face of monumental expectations has floundered. And, Clemson for the first time in 7 years is not a part of that college football playoff conversation.
Yeah.
Have they made every single one to this point?
I believe they have.
Maybe not the first one, but Florida State might have made the first one.
They might have, yeah. But, I mean, they've been in the conversation.
So if you're Clemson now, you look at Florida State and you say, all right, we need to figure out how to get back to the top real quick.
Right.
We don't want to take that route.
You don't want to take that slippery slope. Nobody cares about Boston College, Syracuse outside of the North.
Syracuse is going to win.
All right. Duke at number 13, Wake Forest. Again, nobody probably cares about this game outside of the ACC, but we have the Chase Muma factor here, so we got to talk a little bit about this. Andrew, you and I have been on the Wake bandwagon maybe longer than anyone else, and part of that is because Chase is our boy, and we want to support Chase. But now you fast forward, 6-7 weeks into the ACC season, and it's like, oh, damn, this is actually a legitimate football team.
Yeah, it's a legitimate football team, and they're starting to worry me. I'm not worried about this week against Duke. I'm worried about next week against North Carolina because Wake's defense seems to be regressing week to week. Their offense is awesome. I mean, Sam Hartman, a kid who I personally have known for quite some time, been slaying the football real well. A.T. Perry in that wide receiving core, as well as the running back group that they had there. Dave Clawson, it's all about development there at Wake Forest. They get you, they redshirt you.
Yep.
You might have to wait till you're a junior or a senior, but you're going to get a heck of an education at a prestigious university. And then ultimately, when your time comes, you'll be ready, and they're going to try to win football games. That's the blueprint that Dave Clawson has laid out. However, on the defensive side of the ball, you let up 56 points against Army's triple option last week. It's worrisome.
Yeah.
Wake is in a position right now with both Clemson and North Carolina State having 2 ACC losses that they're
in the driver's
more
seat.
than control their own destiny to get into the ACC championship game against presumably Pittsburgh.
Yep.
But steeper challenges lie ahead.
Can I also just say too that the prospect of a Pitt-Wake ACC championship game is exactly why conspiracy theories get floated around that refs help teams like Clemson and Carolina win, because what a hard game to sell that's going to be.
I will say it here today on ESPN Blacksburg. If Wake makes the ACC championship game in Charlotte, I will go.
I think I'll probably go with you. Joey Weaver is joining us on the Voice of College Football right now and on ESPN Blacksburg. Joey, real quick, we're up against it here. Give us Georgia Tech's keys to victory, so that way we're not just a biased program that only talks Virginia Tech. By the way, the T on your shirt sucks.
Well, disagree. This is from Section 103. Actually, they sponsor the podcast. They're a good Georgia Tech wear. Keys to victory for Georgia Tech. Big one being Jeff Sims cannot turn the ball over, at least not like he does on a normal basis. He is developed from last year, but he is definitely still a guy that will make a couple of pretty boneheaded mistakes throughout the game. So keep an eye on whether he turns the ball over. And then on defense, they need to be able to hold up at the point of attack. They've been using a 3-3-5 layout a lot in the last maybe 4 or 5 games. And it's worked a couple times, particularly against like North Carolina, but they've also gotten pushed around at times against like Pittsburgh. They got pushed around a little bit last week against Virginia. So I don't know if they can stay with the 3-3-5 or if they need to move to more of a four-man front, but whatever they can do, they got to do something to not get pushed around and try to contain Virginia Tech's rushing attack.
What is the strength of this Georgia Tech team right now in year? I guess this is 3 of the rebuild. What do you see as kind of the big positive right now for Georgia Tech?
The thing that they do particularly well, I would say, is running the ball with Jahmyr Gibbs, Jordan Mason, Dante Smith out of the backfield. They have a really good running back room. And then Jeff Sims in the run game also. That's where he really adds a lot as well. So really focusing on that running game, but making sure you're getting something out of it, because they at times have really struggled, particularly with running the ball up the middle. Their offensive line is still a struggle, so they need to get creative with the run schemes. But running the ball, really, that's kind of how you can tell if it's going to be a good day or a bad day for Georgia Tech, is can they get something going, all over the field in the run game in particular.
We got to make picks here, Joey, in about 3 minutes. Can you hang with us, make picks with us?
Of course.
All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, the final segment of the Hokie House pregame show, we're making our ACC picks. I have Mike and Tim's picks already, so we're good there. We'll get our picks coming up for you. It's the Hokie House pregame show on your local radio station. We are ESPN Blacksburg.
Face paint applied? Yeah. Check. Hamstring stretched? Check. Chip bowl filled? Double check. Let's do this thing.
ESPN Blacksburg, 93.1, 810. 97.1 and online at espnblacksburg.com.
What's the best part about hosting a football party at your house? Is it the endless hours of prep to make sure that you have enough food? Is it the constant hours of cleaning because you want to make a good impression? Is it the need to buy so many different drinks because you don't want your guests to be unhappy? Or is it all the cleanup afterwards once everyone leaves? Let's be honest, it's none of those things. All of those things suck. They're tedious, and they're not fun at all. What is fun? Showing up, letting someone else do all the work so you can just enjoy the game. If that sounds like how you want to enjoy this week's away Hokie game, might I suggest you head on over to Hokie House in downtown Blacksburg. With a full menu featuring the best Hokie burgers and wings in the New River Valley, Hokie House is the one place you can enjoy the game, the food, and the drinks with all your friends and not have to worry about the horrible stuff that goes into planning your party. So this weekend, we'll see you and all your friends at Hokie House, 322 North Main Street in downtown Blacksburg. Hokie House, where deliciousness jumps into your mouth.
We are making it happen at the used car superstore on the Sheeler Motor Mile with more selection, more value, and more options. Over 1,500 used cars in stock and ready for delivery. All makes and models to choose from, and all in one location. Plus, Sheeler is your credit source. We own the finance company and make it easy to buy with in-house financing. Our credit specialists are standing by to give you a second chance. We are making it happen with over 1,500 used cars in one location at the Car Superstore on the Sheeler Motor Mile. Why start anywhere else?
Tackle even your toughest business challenges with support from First Bank and Trust Company. Hi, I'm Holly McClung, Business Relationship Representative for First Bank and Trust Company. We are in the business of supporting your business, and that's why we have a team specifically dedicated to supporting payroll, credit card processing, remote deposit, and other business operating needs. Make us your first choice for business solutions, backed by the local support of our team. Call us today at 540-260-9060 for a free consultation. Member FDIC.
We're here today with Eric Leuschner, owner of Real Property Management Insight in Blacksburg, Virginia. Eric, what's the biggest issue you hear about from homeowners when they're trying to be their own landlord?
Yeah, Paul, the number one reason to hire a property manager is to reduce the stress in your life. There's a lot more involved with managing a property than just collecting the rent. And these things can often put a stress on the landlord and the landlord's family. People miss important events in their child's life because they're dealing with a maintenance issue or have to postpone a family trip because they have a vacant property and need to show it to prospective tenants. A rental property is an investment. It should be making your life easier, not more difficult. Hiring a property manager makes owning a rental property stress-free.
That's some great info, Eric. If you'd like more information on renting your property, log on to insightrpm.com today.
Real Property Management Insight. Own the home, not the hassle. Licensed in Virginia.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming up to tonight, shining through the trees. Crickets are singing.
It's the Hokie House pregame show on your local radio station. We are ESPN Blacksburg. Paul Van Wagner, Andrew Alex, Dave Perks, Joey Weaver. Rachel's joining us. And the rest of the Tri-Deltas are here also. All right. We got to make our pick, so we're going to run through these quick. Pitt taking on Miami. Dave, who you got?
Pitt.
Pitt, all right. Andrew.
Give me Kenny Pickett and the Panthers.
All right. Tim and Mike are both taking Pitt. So am I. Joey Weaver.
Give me Miami and the points, but I think Pitt wins the game.
All right. Oh, you got Pitt. Okay, so you got Pitt to win the game. Rachel?
Miami all the way.
Okay. All right. All right. I like the contrarian behavior. That's all good. Florida State at Clemson. Rachel, who you got?
Clemson.
Clemson.
Easy.
All right. Joey.
Clemson, I guess.
Okay, Clemson, you guess. I like the
right.
decisiveness.
Let's
I like
go.
the decisiveness. Yeah. Tim and Mike both have Clemson. So do I. Andrew?
I was unsure until Rachel convinced me. I'm going to go with Clemson.
Let's go.
All right, that's fair. Dave Perks.
I'm going to steal Joey's answer and just really go with Clemson, I guess, because I think that's it.
All right. All right. Syracuse, Boston College. I have Boston College. Mike has Syracuse. Tim has Boston College. Dave Perks.
Yeah, BC.
BC, all right. Andrew?
Give me Sean Tucker at Syracuse. He's going to go for another 150 today.
Wow. Okay. All right. I don't know if I believe that. Joey Weaver.
Give me Boston College and the points, but I think Syracuse wins the game close.
Okay. All right. And Rachel, who you got?
Boston College.
Boston College. All right. Next one, the Fighting Chase Mumas of Wake Forest taking on the Duke Blue Devils. Rachel.
You know, I'm going to go Wake Forest on this one.
All right. Is it because of Chase Muma? Is that why?
If I knew who that was.
All right. Joey.
Chase, we're sorry about your ego.
Yeah, that's all right. He needs a shot in the rear.
Sure.
Yeah. Joey, who you got?
Give me the Deeks.
All right. Tim Thomas has Wake Forest. Andrew Alex.
Give me the Mumas.
Fighting Chase Mumas. Dave Perks.
Yeah, definitely Wake.
All right. And Mike and I both also have Wake Forest. Notre Dame taking on North Carolina. Mike and I and Tim all have Notre Dame. Dave Perks.
Yeah, that's because that's the right answer.
Okay, Notre Dame it is. Andrew.
Give me Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. All right. Joey.
Notre Dame by like 3 scores. Big
All
win
right.
for Notre Dame.
Rachel.
Fighting Irish on this one.
All right. Let's see here. NC State taking on Louisville in a game that only people at NC State care about. Rachel.
You know, this is a hard one. We're going to go NC State.
NC State it is. All right. Joey.
I think I'm changing my answer from basketball conference. Give me Louisville outright.
Wow.
Joey.
That's gutsy, Joe. Tim and Mike and I all have NC State. Andrew?
Go with the Wolfpack.
NC State it is. Dave Perks.
Yeah, I'm going NC State also.
All right. The late night game, BYU taking on Virginia. Mike and I both have BYU. Why? Because Virginia Tech. Tim, for some reason, took UVA. Dave Perks.
I'm going with BYU.
BYU. Andrew Alex.
Give me UVA.
Wow. That's the wrong answer. Joey.
Sorry, Tina.
I guess I'm not trying to make friends here. I'm already friends with you guys. Give me the Who's.
Oh, man. Rachel, come on.
You know, I was born and bred in Charlottesville. I think I got to go with the Who's on this one.
Wow. Well, at least you made the right college choice. You got out of there. That's
Hokies
smart
forever.
thing.
Hokies
That's
forever.
the smart thing. All right, our game, guys. Georgia Tech taking on Virginia Tech. Joey, do you believe in your Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets?
First of all, I think the correct answer is who the hell knows?
Yes. Yes.
Second of all, I guess Georgia Tech, sure.
Okay. All right. Let me see here. Andrew.
If I get this wrong, it's the last time I'm doing it this year, but give me the Hokies.
Wow. Okay. See, I took that mindset also. Dave Perks.
Man.
Voice of the fan.
You know, at this point, the only thing that I have left to compete with is our own standings for these picks.
Yep.
So I don't see us winning this game. I'm picking Georgia Tech.
Okay.
And I'm the voice of the fan.
That is
so
true.
I don't
That is
think
true.
the fan base sees us winning.
Voice
either.
of the fan. You're actually, honestly, the voice of the fan right now. Tim and Mike both took Georgia Tech. I'm going to pass on this one. Rachel, who you got?
You know what? I'm going to go with the Hokies.
There you go. All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining us today. And we will be back here next Saturday. Dave,
Next
Joey,
Friday.
next Friday. That's right. We'll be here for the drive on ESPN Blacksburg. Whole show here at Hokie House. Dave, Joey, thank you. Rachel, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, you guys. This is
Andrew,
awesome.
Andrew, you get paid to be here, so you had to be here.
Yeah.
We'll talk to everyone later. Go Hokies.
Go Hokies.
Go Hokies.
The games are set. Are you? Get the latest news as it breaks.
This is ESPN Blacksburg.
Hi, I'm Sheila Smith, branch manager of the Fair Loan office for the First Bank and Trust Company. One of the things I enjoy most about my job is working with people, both customers and our associates. Our customers commonly say they most appreciate the way we greet them by